question, I guess, is if they could repeat, which is, the best problem to have. But the closest thing I would say is it is NBA prediction slash preview season. The NBA is right around the corner, and we're just kind of sitting around waiting. NBA offseason is over, trade season is over, draft season is over, and there's just nothing to do. There's just nothing to do. Now, let me say this right now. I was actually thinking of making this video about how Anthony Davis could be the first player in 30 years to win both Defensive Player of the Year and MVP in the same season. But the more and more I did research on this video, and the more and more I thought about it, it's just not likely. And I'll get into that in this video. The MVP award stands for the Most Valuable Player award. Aside from a generic ass way from segueing to my next point, it is also a phrase that you will hear relentlessly, except this is how you'll hear it. The MVP award stands for the Most Valuable Player. And this is a phrase that people will drill into your ears as people look at players putting up monstrous numbers on bad teams, carrying them to winning records. Yet somehow a guy who puts up less impressive numbers on a better team is getting more MVP recognition. Now, am I saying this is a bad thing? No, I do think that the award's criteria is indeed flawed. If you're gonna call the award the Most Valuable Player award, then in principle, it should go to the Most Valuable Player. Now, I don't know about you, but I just grew up kind of accepting the fact that the MVP award is more of just a Player of the Year award more than anything. And this is not just in the NBA. I accepted this fact for the MLB, the NHL, the NFL. The most valuable player doesn't always get the award, and I've kind of just accepted that. People have never really read the acronym and interpreted it literally as much as people have the past 2 years. And if we're just keeping it a buck, if we're just keeping it 100%, it's just been an excuse to further justify Russell Westbrook winning MVP because he averaged a triple-double, and to give a reason as to why LeBron should win MVP last year because it's LeBron. The same reason people were using for Kobe back in 2006 as to why he supposedly should have won MVP over Nash is pretty much what happened with LeBron last year. Because the reality is, in the award's 60-year history, it has slowly developed the real criteria for winning the award. And I hate to break it to you, it's not being the most valuable player in the NBA. Whether it's right or wrong that is the criteria is another topic for another day. But take a look at this graphic right here. Now, these are the past 60 winners of the MVP award, dating all the way back to the 50s. And out of the 60 winners, there have only been 6 times where the winner did not lead their team to a top 4 record in the league. Every single other award winner has done this and was the best player on their team. Now, is this to say that the award has never gone to the most valuable player? No, there are years like 2004 and 2009 that the MVP has gone to the most valuable player who also led his team to a top 4 record in the league. But there is a stronger correlation between having a top 4 record than simply being the most valuable player in the league. Now, you might be saying, well, if this was the case, then why didn't KD win it last year or the year before? He led his team to the best record, or one of the best records in the league, and was the best player and put up amazing numbers. Now, that is when narratives come into play. Because if KD was drafted into Golden State and he did what he did, the controversy of him leaving OKC for this team wasn't in play, and Russ didn't average a triple-double, then yes, in normal circumstances, he probably would have won MVP. However, no one would give Steph or KD MVP for the sole reason that they are on the most stacked team of all time, and especially how they came together. Now, yes, Magic, Shaq, Jordan, and Bird have gotten MVPs in similar situations, but the stigma with how KD joined this team and how unfair they are as a whole is just something that people don't ignore and factor in. So to put everything in a tight little package, essentially what I'm getting at here is the main criteria for the award is having good to great stats, leading your team to a top 4 record in the league, and having a good narrative slash hype behind you. And with this in mind, 3 players come into my head right away. Those 3 players are Kawhi Leonard, Kyrie Irving, and James Harden. And yes, that does mean that LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and Giannis, who are favorites going into the season according to Vegas, will most likely not win MVP despite them being more valuable to their team and will probably have better stats. Unless they do have such a monstrous season like Kevin Garnett in 04 that will push their team to a top 4 record in the league, which has been around 54 to 55 wins, and considering that LeBron and AD are in the West, that is an extremely daunting task for these players considering their supporting cast and again, the conference that they're in. So out of Kyrie, Harden, and Kawhi, I do think it will come down to Kyrie and Kawhi, as I do think there is some voter fatigue with Harden. Although he's only won it once, he has been top 2 in MVP voting in 3 of the last 4 years. Now both Kawhi and Kyrie were both injured last year, so using that as an excuse to question one but not the other would be unfair. But when push comes to shove, I do have Kawhi Leonard winning MVP next year. The Raptors last year won 59 games, and this is a team that replaced DeMar DeRozan with Kawhi Leonard, and not to mention just added an all-NBA defender and one of the best shooters in the league in Danny Green. And while Dwayne Casey was fired and he was a big factor for the team's success last year, and no one really knows how Nick Nurse will do until the time comes, I do believe that he will implement some sort of system that is similar to Dwayne Casey's. And this team, top to bottom, could legitimately challenge the Celtics as the best team in the East and possibly win 60 plus games, at the minimum 55 if everyone is healthy. Now in terms of stats, Kawhi has never been the type to put up monstrous stats and triple-double S stats like a Russell Westbrook or a James Harden or a LeBron James, but he could easily be capable of putting up 26 to 27 points, efficient points at that, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, and we know how he'll do on the defensive end. So Kawhi could very well end up with a season in which he joins the team for the first time, puts up monstrous numbers on both ends, and leads them to 60 plus wins. And that is a season that should easily win MVP. Now the reason I didn't choose Kyrie was simply because of these stupid narratives that people apply on him. This idea that he's not valuable because his team made it to the conference finals without him, when with him, they would have swept through the first 2 rounds and probably would have beat the Cavs in 5 games with him on the team. But now apparently value isn't a absolute value equation anymore, but simply what your team is without you, despite how much you actually improve your team with you on the court. And while I love Brad Stevens, he will steal some of the credit from Kyrie. And with Gordon Hayward coming back from his injury, I'm just not entirely sure if he'll put up good enough stats. Now, could it be possible that Brown and Tatum will be the ones to take the statistical dip to fully incorporate Hayward, which allows Kyrie to still put up a highly efficient 26 points, 6 assists, and 4 rebounds? Sure. But until I see that, Kawhi Leonard is my pick for next year's MVP award. Now, I hope y'all enjoyed this video. If y'all enjoyed this video, go ahead and leave a like on this video. Hit that sub button to keep up to date with future videos. And also, stay tuned for the next video. That collab is coming. And I'm really excited to put everything together. But with that being said, I hope y'all enjoyed this. And I'm out, man. Peace.